My theme this morning is, this could be your day. First of all, we're going to read from the man, the wonderful man of wisdom, Solomon, Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And here Solomon says, "For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones, a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be quiet and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What do people really get for all their hard work? I have seen the burden of God has placed on us all. Yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity in the human heart. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. God's time. Nothing will happen for anybody's time except in God's time. So we're going to look this morning. As I said, my theme is, this could be your day. We're going to read or look at a man called Bartimaeus from Mark 10, 46 to 52. And it says, "When they reached Jericho, and as Jesus and his disciples left town, a large crowd followed him. A blind beggar named Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, was sitting beside the road. When Bartimaeus heard that Jesus of Nazareth was nearby, he began to shout, 'Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me.' 'Be quiet,' many of the people yelled at him. But he only shouted louder, 'Son of David, have mercy on me.' When Jesus heard him, he stopped and said, 'Tell him to come here.' So they called the blind man and said, 'Cheer up,' they said, 'Come on, Jesus is calling you. Bartimaeus threw his coat aside and jumped up and came to Jesus. What do you want me to do for you? Jesus asked. My Rabbi, the blind man said, I want to see. And Jesus said to him, go, for your faith has healed you. Instantly the man could see, and he followed Jesus down the road. This was Bartimaeus' day. What do we know about Bartimaeus? His father was Timaeus. We also know that Bartimaeus was blind. And it's very sad when some people are blind. When you can't see your wife, when you can't see your sons or your daughters or your granddaughters. It's really sad. But to be blind physical is sad. But when it's blind spiritually, some people can't even see the next level God wants to take them, which is very sad. Bartimaeus was blind, but it doesn't mean to say he was deaf. Bartimaeus hears Jesus is coming to pass him by. He hears Jesus, Son of David, he cries, have mercy on me. But you always get those who are around and don't appreciate and think you shouldn't be doing that. And they roared at him, be quiet. Be quiet. And it's very sad. But the thing is, it didn't disturb Bartimaeus. Do you see, this was Bartimaeus' day. And he was focused on this day. And he cries out again, thy Son of David, have mercy on me. And they send, Jesus hears him, and he sends someone up and says, come. Jesus wants you. And Jesus just asks the question, he says, what do you want me to do for you? But what a reply. My Rabbi, he said, my Rabbi. And he keeps it simple. I just want to see. And he says to him, your faith has healed you. Your faith has healed you. You could stop there, but you can't. But he does something else. He follows Jesus. He follows Jesus. To see, that was Bartimaeus' day. We're going to look at another guy called Zacchaeus. And this was Zacchaeus' day. It's from Luke chapter 19. And it tells us Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was a man there named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region. And he became very rich. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short to see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree beside the road. For Jesus was going to pass that way. When Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus, and called him by name. Zacchaeus, he said, quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today. Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus to his house with great excitement and joy. But the people were displeased. He's gone to be the guest of a nutritious sinner, they grumbled. Meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, I will give half my wealth to the poor, Lord. And if I have cheated people on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. Jesus responded, salvation has come to this home today. For this man has shown himself to be a true son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save those who are lost. Zacchaeus. What do we see about Zacchaeus? Zacchaeus, as described in our reading here, he was a small man, but he was also the chief tax collector, and he was rich. But somehow he hears Jesus is entering Jericho, and he's coming through the town. To see, this is Zacchaeus' day. Jesus is coming through the town. And because he's small, he knows he's not going to be able to see Jesus because of the crowd. So he runs ahead, and it tells us he climbs this tree. But this is the amazing thing. Jesus is coming past. Jesus could have stopped anywhere, but he stopped directly at this tree, and he looks up and he says, Zacchaeus, come on down. come on down. I'm going to be a guest at your house. Jesus could have said more. He said, we're going to have lunch at your house. And Zacchaeus was so pleased. He was full of joy. And as he came down, he was so happy. There was something in his step to say this was Zacchaeus' day. Something was going to happen. He's going to be different from this day because it's his day. But what happens? Instead of everybody being happy, they're displeased. Look what Jesus is doing. He's going with the tax collector. He's a rogue. He overcharged us in taxes. He's robbed us in this. But Jesus, he'd never said a word. But Zacchaeus, he just got up and said, he gets up and said, if I have robbed anybody, I will give them back. And if I've overtaxed people, I will give them 4 times. This was Zacchaeus' day. Jesus said, salvation has come to this home today. For this man has shown himself to be a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which is lost. 2 different men. One physically, and one that needed salvation. 2 needs met on one day because it was Bartimaeus' day and this was Zacchaeus' day. But do you know something? Today could be your day. This could be your day that you have been looking for. This could be your great day for something to happen. But as we read from the man of wisdom, it's God's time. Maybe you've been prayed for before, but nothing has seemed to happen. But it's God's time. It's God decides. William can't say you're going to be healed today. It's God decides. But this could be your day. Bartimaeus received his sight. A changed man. And he follows Jesus. Zacchaeus, a tax collector. Despite them being displeased, but we can learn from that displeasement. We can't look at people because what job they do, or how they're dressed, or where they have come from, to see we're all the same. We're all sinners, saved by grace. And this was Zacchaeus' day. What a change in that man. And later on we find he follows Jesus. But this could be your day. For a few moments, would just close your eyes. If God has been speaking to you, but just for a few moments, if you want to come forward